All right.
So,
I did Garage Days isn't my first one.
Well, where are we?
let's talk about where we're at first and what's going on.
Oh, I thought you guys covered that.
No,
we just
been bullshitting.
No, we're at Lost Woods Brewery in beautiful Buckley.
Buckley, Washington. For our...
Not 10 minutes from where we usually record.
And we're here because...
Welcome to another episode of the American Beer Review Podcast.
Good times with good friends requires good beer. Lucky for us, we know how to pick all three.
We're a group of friends who grew up in the Pacific Northwest, giving us a jump start on our craft beer journey.
Join us today while Brian... I pride myself on not getting to know other people, so do not put that on me.
Alec.
So the bananas up until like the 60s were an entirely different species of banana?
And Chad. It hit me like a wrecking ball.
Review some beer, talk about beer topics, and whatever else comes up. We invite you to pour yourself a drink and hang out with us. We did 1 year.
Which is...
New recordings, which is a miracle in itself.
1 year of weekly recordings. I mean, we don't record weekly.
We didn't start recording.
Publishing weekly. We published an episode
we didn't.
Weekly
But we were publishing only like every other week for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And
but by
then
the end of 2022, we were on a weekly
Publishing.
basis. Yeah.
Starting January, we did start filling in that week.
Yeah.
So between full episodes and review episodes, and then for reviews and
All that fun stuff.
whatever, all of that. But
So we went live. We're out in person. Check it out. So we decided since we're at a brewery, we do kind of the...
what's Chad call it? A flight in the pint?
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of a standard.
Which is your usual kind of...
It's my go-to when I go to a new place, is getting a flight, trying out a few of their different beers, and then
Deciding
one.
which one you want, yeah.
And depending on whether I'm allowed to or not, I'm getting either a full pint or I'm getting just a, half guy when I close my tab.
Right.
We'll see if my wife listens to this one and just realizes that that's my usual go-to.
Nice. Well, I started with the Garage Days Pale Ale.
Okay.
Looks like Brian got
I
that.
also have that one, so maybe I'll try that one too first to start it off. Chad, do you know the story behind the name of that beer?
I'm going to assume it's a throwback to their days of home brewing in the garage.
Not just homebrewing.
No, he had the initial Lost Woods location was in his garage, basically until the neighbors shut him down.
It was a pretty small cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
He had a decent amount of space in his garage. You went, right?
Yeah, so I went there as well. You went there to, just hang out.
Yeah, my sister and my wife went, and we hung out and, got a beer in the garage.
Yeah, and so he's a friend of a friend. So I went and actually just talked to him and hung out for a little bit.
Yeah.
And you told me the story of, the neighbors are mad, and I pull up to the cul-de-sac. I'm like, no joke. 4 cars in this cul-de-sac is going to fill that thing up.
It's not quite big enough to, stack cars. You still kind of got to park parallel, but it doesn't take much to fill that up. But yeah, going back to the OG days of being in his garage, which was a pretty cool setup.
Yeah.
Just kind of open, weekend style.
Oh, man, if that was your garage, if you could afford all that equipment and...
He had a decent amount of equipment. So this, where we're at now, is actually technically their third location.
Yeah.
Because after kind of getting told they couldn't keep functioning at in the garage, they moved to it took a while. They found a strip mall out in Bonnie Lake.
Right.
In an old, Quiznos.
Yeah.
Literally still had the queue,
on the floor.
Man, I missed the Quiznos.
It was a good spot, though. Location-wise.
Yeah.
It's right down the street from the high school I used to work at, so that was often a staffed, stopping point.
Meeting point afterwards, so you're not going to run into students in a bar.
21 and over only there.
That's what I'm saying.
That's one of the differences between there and their new location here in Buckley, is this one is family friendly.
Yeah. There's a kid playing golf in the
Golden
background,
Tee.
yeah.
Yep.
Got a little golden tea, a little football.
This space I like. It's more personalized to them. It was a new building that they kind of, I think, were able to get in at the beginning and kind of make their own space. So great big walls with painting, really high ceiling. It's a lot brighter than the old location. Kind of just more of your standard brewery feel.
Well, and they have tanks in the back.
Yeah,
so
you can see them
see
from
where
here.
they're making. Yeah.
So, And I think that was the difference. Is I don't think they were brewing even at the old location.
I don't think so. I think they were still brewing in the garage and transporting.
Yes. So now you're kind of in all in one spot. So if you're going, I guess what way on the freeway? East on 410.
Yeah,
it's kind of one of your first.
If you're headed to Enumclaw or going the back way to sneaking around to 18 to head east.
That's a super close. That's a super hyper local reference right there.
You're in the east of
but we
410.
are sitting.
Yeah.
But we
it's
are
one of the
sitting in a
first
hyper
places.
local.
Yeah,
brewery.
but I'm just saying it's one of the first places if you're going
Yeah.
into Buckley.
Yeah.
So, and there is actually this can be your starting point for a brewery tour.
Yes.
Because you got Lost Woods here, like literally walking distance. You have Elkhead,
Right.
and then I can't remember if there's another brewery in Buckley, but then there's like 3 or 4 in Enumclaw.
Yep.
And there's that cidery that we picked up the apple cider Irish Death last year.
Oh, you
they're down
just
in
went and did
Enumclaw,
that, but I
deep in
forgot about
Enumclaw.
that. Yeah. You apparently enjoyed the garage days.
I love me a pale ale.
This one is pretty solid with just it just got a little hint of hoppiness, but it's really light body.
It's got a little pepper to it. That's all I need. That's all I need in a pale ale. Just a little bit of pepper.
A little boozy, 5.7%. So it's not quite comparable. Like you're not swapping it out for like the light beer.
No.
But not bad. If it were 5.2, I would crush like a 6-pack of those would be a good kind of all dayer.
I can't see ABVs from where I'm at.
By where you're at, you mean it's further than 4 feet away, so you can't see it.
But I started with Wicked Haze.
You're looking at 6.5.
Not bad.
Yeah, for a hazy, that's pretty good.
When hazes are growing on me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who feel like they're done with them. I still get them. I still enjoy them. But I definitely can't do
We're coming
6 in a row.
We're coming off the back end of the hazy explosion.
Yeah.
And I think brewers are finding what's sustainable with a hazy offering.
Mm-hmm.
I think it seems like everyone's coming back down to you just need one hazy. You don't need
Flight of hazies would not go well.
You don't need 4 hazies to round out a beer menu anymore.
Yours is actually hazy too, especially compared to almost every other beer. It's a proper hazy.
Number 3.
The Weizen is the only one that's
Which also makes sense to be cloudy at least.
cloudier than this.
Yeah. Do we have any others of crossovers? Me and you both have the Stout. I'll probably save that one a little bit.
So I have the Stout, Harry.
Okay, so we got 3 out of 4 of the same. But you're rolling solo on all of yours.
You picked 4 right before me.
Yeah.
And I just picked the next 4 on their list.
Yeah. And I think Al got the Manimal as well.
Oh, did you go Manimal? We can do that one next.
No, start with the Manimal.
So this is the scarier
Then I'll do the 410 next.
of them because Manimal is it's an Imperial Red, right?
Yes. 7.3. Still not the scariest. Me and Chad have Harry coming up, and that one is 9.2. Did Chad realize that when he ordered it?
No, but it's not. I just like the name. It's like when you name a dog like a human name.
Well, you know why it's Harry, right?
We're drinking Manimal right now.
Well,
but we're talking about the other Harry one.
Is it reference to the fact that the Sasquatch is like the
Harry and the Hendersons?
is the logo for this brewery? Yeah.
No, they got awesome branding. We didn't even touch on that.
That's true.
Very, very cool Northwest branding.
Yes.
And I can't count the number of Lost Woods stickers I see on the back of cars
because it's just so
driving
classic.
around. Yeah. You see a lot of the...
It looks like the U.S. Forest Service's sign.
Yeah.
But it's like Lost Woods with the guy carrying a growler and drinking a pint.
Sasquatch.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm a big fan. I think I've had Manimal before. I'm going to check that out.
As a comparison to a previous beer, this is like a...
the previous, meaning your pale ale?
Kind of a more intense version of that matchless saloon lager. The cemented, deeper,
that
darker.
came out of left field.
Yep. It's a stretch.
But I could see this kind of got some whiskey
Like undertones?
undertones to it. It'd be a tough Boilermaker, but
I was going to say, I'm never going to do it.
I could see having a backer with it.
an Imperial Red with a
So it's only
whiskey back.
It's only 7.3.
It would go very well. I just don't need to be doing that.
I think some people get away with a 7.3 and not calling it Imperial though.
And this is all. And I'm also getting kind of ESB vibes from it.
A little bit. There's a lot more. There is
way
an
more hops.
There's an extra touch of bitterness
Yeah,
for a red than.
it's kind of cleans things up though.
Oh wait, that's the Imperial Red. I don't know that it was categorized as that previously when I've had it. Interesting. I don't know that I had realized it was like red.
Maybe they amped up the grain bill or something.
Yeah. I just had seen it normally as like their Imperial. And I wonder if maybe because they brought around the Harry, that maybe they kind of realized like, oh, we are really doing two different kind of time.
I kind of like it. It's a high ABV, but it's not straw like everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if this was just an amber for this time of year, I don't think I'd want just an amber. Having this a little bit heavier when it's cold outside takes the edge off.
Yeah, I like it. Well, I liked it the last time I had it. I didn't have it today.
You can try some. Go on it.
I got enough. I mean, I've had it before, so. Well, and even I think there's a lot of things like, looking at a past picture someone took of that Garage Days, this Garage Days Pale is much cleaner, crisper, clearer than the other picture I'm looking at. So I really think
Since they developed their processes.
I've always enjoyed their beer. It's always been tasty. I think their Belgian Blonde was one of the first ones I had. I don't think they have it now, but they had it back in the Garage Days, and that was the first one I had that was like, this is good. Like, this was a good beer. I think their initial IPA was like, oh, it's fine. But they've definitely grown in their production process, like the way they've done it, and continue to improve and make better and better beers, I think. So, I like it. I mean, I'm going to go with, I got the 410 IPA, which is also the name of the highway that we are
about 15, 20 feet away from.
Yeah. That close? Maybe a little further, but we can definitely see it from there. You don't have good eyesight, so you don't know what you're talking about.
Gauge measurements. I know what 12 inches looks like.
So 410 IPA, sitting at 6.5%. Pretty clear, I mean, especially compared to your hazy. Like, yeah, that's a good differentiator. Ooh, that's got a lot of citrus to it. A lot of citrus, like kind of a clean traditional, like almost like Citra IPA.
Really?
Yeah, like that's pretty solid. Like if you want like a hint of orange, but not like a hazy, I think this would be a really good one. You're getting a touch of bitter to it, but not overly. Yeah, that's a pretty solid, like overall, just general go-to IPA. That's the tough thing too, is one where you're like, it would be really sucky, like to call something your 410 IPA. You literally, both of your locations have been right off of 410.
Yeah.
To use a name like that and not have a good beer with it.
Knock it out of the park. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think this is a good, real solid one.
My third's Weizen. So they're Weizen-biest. And again, I can't see that far.
Oh yeah. It is 4.8%.
So mellower.
So wheat beer, Hefeweizen style.
Almost a little Belgian-y in the taste.
Which they will. I mean, that's not the like go-to for it, but like you can get a little bit of that. I think for some of those, it really depends on the yeast that you're using and which way it goes, whether you're going like more banana or more clovey. Got some interesting thoughts there. Some faces.
No. It's good, but that is pretty banana-y.
Oh, I can smell it. It smells like banana. Yeah. So that's what it is when you go with the yeast. It's about how long it stays in there. I think of whether you kind of go more clove or go more banana.
Yeah.
But that for Weizens, that's honestly the kind of way to go with it. That's not bad though.
No,
it
it's
is
good.
banana-y,
It's
but
good,
like it's not as weedy. It's not as like
for a wheat beer, a Weizen. Yeah, I was expecting a lot more Hefeweizen, and it leans a lot more towards like a Belgian.
A Weizen beer, and maybe that's the difference to me is like being more like a Weiss beer instead of a Hefeweizen.
Yeah,
there is a slight difference in that. So here's my question, throwback. What kind of banana is that? Is that a Cavendish or is that a?
This is an old school banana. This is a Runts banana.
It is. It's very Runts banana.
Yeah.
That's pretty solid though.
I'm just over here still sipping my Manimal.
Okay, so what's your go-to flight move? I feel like me and Alec are on the same page, and Chad's on a different one.
I broke with tradition. Normally I go lightest to darkest.
Okay.
But since we were sharing the Imperial Red, I've still been sipping on it. I'm getting some pineapple
in the Manimal.
Going.
Imperial Red
on the nose. Give it a good sniff on the nose. I'm getting some pineapple.
I don't go lightest to darkest. I'll usually go with like lightest flavor profile to try that first. So like if you're getting a lager, try that first because if you've done a few IPAs, I feel like you've kind of burned out your taste palette to then do the lager on a flight.
Yeah.
But I also don't finish my flights. I do some of each of them.
Okay, so that's where we're on the same page. Because
yes.
I'm like, in selecting the flights, you picked 4 beers, and then I picked the next 4 on the list.
So that's two different things. Like picking what I'm putting on a flight, there's usually some go-to ideas. I'll pick something weird. Especially if you get one where you can get a 6 flight, I will for sure pick one I would never normally pick, which probably would have been the Weizen-biest.
Well, they have a seltzer in-house.
Yes.
That I tried to put on the flight, and he's like, bro, it's a pain in the ass.
Because they mix it
in-house for
the little guy.
For the little guy. And I was like, yeah, we don't need to make it difficult on you. But I literally just went the next 4 beers that you didn't have a pick. But yes, I also do the same thing. I just taste around, and then it's almost a lottery system where I'll use this to figure out what the pint that I'm buying next is.
There's the other thing. Do you always pick your pint from the flight you've had? Or do you then go off book?
At a new brewery, I usually, especially in a 6
if you have
flight,
6, you should be able to get one.
Yes. Yeah, so I usually pick there. If I go to a brewery I've been to a lot, I use the flight to test out new stuff, and then I usually go home, like to my home base with a pint that I know I like.
Right. Harry?
Harry Potter.
Getting a little hairy in here. So Harry is there.
I'm the exact opposite.
Oh.
I still go lightest to darkest just because that's, in the early days, lightest to darkest meant lightest to darkest flavor, but now you have
so many other
you can have a super light beer that
like a sour
has a ton of
you don't want to start with that one.
But I finish each of my tasters before I go on to the next one. I'm one of those weirdos, like if there's hamburger and french fries on the plate.
You eat the hamburger first,
the hamburger,
french fries?
One of those is getting finished first, and then I'm moving on to the next one. So,
yeah, that part I can get on board
now
with.
We're moving on to Harry, and I believe we all have Harry?
No, he does not.
Okay. So,
just me and you.
Nice. So I shared a... Okay.
I think part of my also is I used to split the flights with my wife.
Yeah.
And then we would hold a draft of who got what.
Yeah.
But then you could also cover almost an entire menu across 2 people. You could have a taste of entire menu.
Oh, between the 3 of us, we wiped out their entire beer list and then had to double up.
Yeah.
Outside of the guest house.
They do have guest house.
I almost did some guest house.
That's one thing that not a lot of places do is have their own beer, and to me it opens up. They're a smaller brewery, so it opens up to having some things that they maybe can't cover. One of the key things is they have that seltzer, which is their own, but I'm also seeing a couple ciders, which is really helpful for bringing in, someone who doesn't drink gluten. So having that option to do that is kind of cool. So having those guest taps for it. It also, whenever they have kind of struggled with maybe production or something, it's an easier way to if you're going through a low time of oh shoot,
you still have things on tap.
Yeah, you can pull in a couple of other kegs of stuff to cycle through. So
the spitballing, it's probably also a nice way to see if there's a flavor you're missing in your.
That's a good call. Yeah.
I mean, really, they have
And
a.
also, you're supporting other local brewers.
Really, they only have 2 beers that are guest ones right now. So they have an IPA and a porter, and then they got a couple of ciders and a root beer. So I think those are, decent.
And honestly, everything on that screen, you pretty much covered any flavor anybody needs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
A sour.
It's kind of
Well,
it's getting cold, so sour. Yeah, a
Depends
nice
on your
sour.
person.
Well, I was trying to get into the seltzer, which is sour adjacent, because they flavor them. I just, like I said, didn't want to put them through the extra work. What do you guys think of
The Harry actually drinks really smooth for 9.2%. It's, you want to try a little? It's like really smooth. I think it really is kind of that more traditional like double IPA style,
super clear?
where you're just kind of hitting the perfect like amplification of those things.
That's just a big old IPA. That's
Like
what that is.
it's just kind of a quintessential double IPA where it kind of mellows all of the extra hoppiness. You feel a little bit more malt bill in there. Like it's got
a little boozy bite on the end in a sip.
Oh yeah.
The boozy bite and then some hops effervescence, but it's kind of almost fruity florally up front.
Yeah.
This
Dare
would
I
have
say,
been
is it juicy? Brian, is it juicy?
juicy adjacent.
Juicy adjacent?
I mean, it's not quite hitting that. The citra, or I don't even know that the 410 is juicy in that aspect, but it is pretty like citrusy. So,
But that is a classic IPA from what I remember in the old times.
a double.
An old double IPA, which makes sense since you guys said this was surrounded by an OG slanging beer out of my garage in the early days, finger quotes, like when
He's not that early. I mean, he's like our age.
But I think it's been like at least 6 years.
No. He's been brewing he started like 12, 15 years.
yeah, I remember you guys talking about going there.
Really? You
when
think
we
that
were doing
one-
the
It was
vlog.
2 jobs ago.
All right, let me look and see.
Yeah, we were doing the vlog, and you guys were telling me stories of this. Dude, there's this guy in my neighborhood. There's this guy I know,
Yeah.
and every weekend, people are just
Packing his garage.
packed into his garage slinging beer.
One of the interesting things too, this is also part of like the more local and smaller style. When you go to their Untapped and look at their list, you're only looking at about 35 beers.
Yeah.
Just because, I mean, you have some of the key ones, like I said, like I've had most of the ones that are on here, but they're not. They bring out new ones occasionally, but it's not like every week we're bringing in something new.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's a little bit different.
It's still a smaller facility.
Oh, 100%. Like, it would take a lot. Yeah, the Belgian Blonde was one of my early favorites. And I think this is the first one I had, and that's why I was trying to look at. Brand new Garage Nano Brewery. Belgian Blonde is really tasty. March 2017. I was in his garage, so 6 years ago.
Okay.
So
not as far as I
was kind of exactly on point there for that one.
Fair enough.
Well, still 6 years ago. That's almost a decade, right?
Yeah.
All right, so my last one is the Buckley Beer, which he was explaining the controversy behind the Buckley Beer to you, and I
You didn't catch it?
didn't
Okay.
pay a ton of attention.
So this is a rebrand of a beer they've had before. They had a beer, so they were in Bonnie Lake. They had a beer called Bonnie Lake Gold. They've moved up 410, gotten closer to another brewery that apparently has a Buckley Gold.
Oh.
And so they felt like it. Some people, according to this guy, complained, and it was as like a little gimmick infringement or something like that. And so,
By their style.
yeah, which is interesting that they could change it to Buckley Beer, and it's fine. So now there's a Buckley Beer and a Buckley Gold instead of it being a Bonnie Lake Gold and a Buckley Gold. I don't know. I still feel like getting a little in the weeds on the annoyance of that sort of thing.
Well, and you're also going to yell that if you kept it a Bonnie Lake
Because they're not
Gold,
there
but
anymore.
you're not there anymore.
Yeah.
That's
How is it?
it's not my favorite.
Of light beers?
of a light beer. I mean, I bought it or got it because you didn't.
Yeah.
This would be the most slammable.
Oh,
out of
for
my
sure.
plate.
It's also only like 4.8%.
Yeah. So no, it's good.
I think it feeds a certain
market.
Yeah, and also again, the light beers to make them really good is really tough.
Yeah.
And
No, it's good.
Yeah.
I should have started with this one, like we were just talking about.
Yeah.
I should have started this one. I've been flavor blasted by the three prior to this one.
Agreed.
That it feels a little bit
Who
light.
knows what it could have been like before that? Yeah. So, and this is where it's funny. So I finally finished one just because you were chatting, and so I didn't want to start my last one because it's one I have the same as Chad. But the double actually the Imperial was pretty smooth. I finished it pretty easy just sipping on it. So that's one that you kind of got to watch out. And actually the next one that me and Chad both have is called Cold Night in the Woods. And it's got a year. So like they only make it once a year. They make it, this is the newest version or something. So
and I purely bought it because of the name. Because it's, and when I see the year, then I know.
Seasonal, jump on it while you can.
Or, hey, every year
there's going to be a little tweak to it.
There's a little tweak to it or something. So you get that taste of that year.
I actually was a little surprised it's only 6% as a stout. With it being the year, I tend to think like, oh, they're going to barrel age it or they're going to do something for it.
Not everything needs to be barrel aged.
No. So I'm looking forward to trying this one out. I mean, it is dark, thick looking, like there's zero light coming through that bad boy.
And the head on it has maintained, like this is the last, I finished my other three, so it's been about half hour. The head on this is still maintained.
Oh, it's got just a hint, like a coffee aroma, smooth, kind of coffee bitter, just a little bit of it. It is not thick in like mouthfeel like a Belgian. You're not getting that like boozy, like kind of like not maple, but like where you get the like syrupy out of like kind of a barrel aged thick stout. You're not getting that in this. That's a really good stout though.
Is it?
That's a nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I compare it to like a nice Americano kind of.
Okay.
Because I always go back to coffee when I go to stouts.
I can kind of see that where you're getting those things, but it's still a little light.
You're getting that flavor, but it's been since the Americano is like an espresso shot that you water it down. You're getting that very smooth, non-thick mouthfeel. Mm-hmm. That little bite of,
but still the creaminess.
The creaminess, and then that's it. It just washes away.
Yeah.
And that's what I really look for in stout.
No, that's pretty solid there.
I don't know if I could do a pint of this after all the other flavors.
No. But coming in on particularly a day like today.
This is a growler fill for me. Or a growler fill.
Okay. It'd be a good one to come in and start with. And only 6% too, if you knew you're only getting one, but it kind of is like a warming, even though you're not getting that boozy warm, like, oh, I gotta go still do something.
Yeah.
Or, get this and then a garage days, like out type of thing. Like that'd be a good like 1-2 punch to kind of get through.
I'd almost go a pint of this, and then they do smaller pours. I'd almost do a pint of this, and then I think I saw somebody doing like a 10-ouncer of the Imperial Red, probably.
Yeah.
Okay.
If it was a little chillier, the sun's out, so it's warming up a little bit. I don't think. I think I would do the stout and then the what was it?
Manimal?
No, not the gold. What they call it now?
The Bonnie Lake beer.
Yeah,
Buckley beer.
Buckley beer. Yeah. That's a nice sip. I'm not mad about any of the 4 I got today.
All good.
Now the question is, I need to get my wits about me and decide what
pint we're going with.
My pint's going to be.
Yeah, I think we might need to
take a pause.
Are we picking faves out of this one, or are we waiting to see if you're picking your fave out of the pint for the next thing?
I think we pick faves out of this one, and then that probably leads to what our
could be. I might go off book. Who knows?
I am probably going off book just to mix it up. Out of these ones, I go the Wicked Haze, Manimal, Buckley Beer, and then Weizen.
Man, I might go. I mean, the Harry's the first one I finished, so I might do, honestly, Harry as one of my top, the Imperial IPA. Then
For a pint or for
no,
the
like my
tasting?
flight here,
Yeah,
my
yeah.
flight here. Well, and that's really hard because actually, like, I think these are all really solid. I'm gonna go with the. I'm gonna go.
Hi, gentlemen. How we doing?
Doing good. How are you?
Everything so far?
Yeah, it's been great.
So far.
Water's in the fridge are free.
Cool.
Yeah,
Perfect. Thank you.
It's a great one to mix before you have another beer.
There you go.
It's a good heads up.
Thank you.
We're going to need toss plate on that TV. You want to put it over here?
That'd be great, actually. Yeah. Thank you. I'm gonna go 410 Stout Harry Garage Days, but honestly, I like all of them.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Manimal,
Okay.
Harry, Stout Garage Days. But those are all. I'm giving them all 4 stars plus out of 5.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't checked them in yet, but these are all like I'm a stickler, but 3.5 stars and above, like 3.75s at least, like yeah, real solid. Might be finish our flights and grab one of those waters,
Yeah, grab
Before
a
next
water
and we'll be back.
and figure out what we got for a pint. All right, so we're back with pints, and surprise, surprise, we'll go around with what we got.
Yeah, I kind of surprised myself. I got talked into it, but I actually haven't tasted it yet, but I don't think I'll be mad about it.
Okay, what did you get?
I went with the haze, the Wicked Haze.
It's awesome.
You went with the Wicked Haze?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Wicked Haze.
That was my favorite out of my flight.
I'm about halfway through my Wicked Haze.
It actually is a delightful little. Oh, you know what it is, Chad? It's a delightful little juice bomb.
Oh, this is juicy. Okay, got it.
I mean,
Borderline
a hazy
juicy,
can
yeah.
be, a hazy can be like.
No, but it's very punchy, floral. You get a lot of that hop kick at the end.
I think you get like a touch of bitter, but it's not like.
You can do a sip and then do another sip right after, and
Yeah.
you're not like killing yourself.
Yeah, this is a good gateway beer too. Okay,
You want
but-
to talk about gateway beers? So,
Is that cherry or raspberry? Syrup,
this
yeah.
is sour gummy bear seltzer. I asked the bartender what her favorite was. This is what she said. I went, yep.
So that's the faces that you were making as you came over.
No,
Didn't have to do with the cake that was in here.
well, there was cake over there as well, but sour gummy beer seltzer was not something that I would pick out, but
It's not on your.
she did ask. She's like, do you like more sweet, less sweet? And we're like, okay, a little bit on the less sweet side, but
So she didn't fully sweet you up on that.
did not fully sweet me up on it, but
It does make me wonder. So it's their own seltzer, it then says it's 5%, but they flavor in house, like a la like Italian sodas. Like you
Yes.
got like this. Okay.
so they have a base seltzer, and then they have
Oh,
a couple dozen
yeah.
different flavors for it,
yeah.
and you could probably mix
Probably
and
do a
match.
mix and match with some.
She
Yeah.
said it's usually like a 3-pump
Okay.
flavor deal.
I like that better than having pre-mixed seltzers on tap.
And only the single option of like what you can have.
Because seltzer is subjective. Maybe somebody goes, "Hey, I just want a couple pumps today, or just one pump."
I mean, it's
Because a seltzer is essentially a vodka soda.
yes, it's a flavored vodka soda, but like a lighter
Low
alcohol.
ABV, but this, like, you could go into a coffee stand
Yes.
and
Yes.
go, I would like 1 pump green apple, 2 pumps of cherry, and
Yeah.
a pump of whatever. You could customize this an infinite number of ways.
Exactly.
Some degenerate could go, give me a pump of chocolate and 2 pumps of marshmallow and make it a s'mores seltzer. I mean, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
So this is my follow-up question. Are all seltzers gluten-free? No matter what?
I have no idea.
I've never seen a seltzer so far that's not gluten-free, though, but that's just my own...
Because most of them are you're making sugar water and fermenting it out, so there's no grains or whatever to produce that gluten.
This might be the most genius way to do a seltzer in-house.
That's what I'm saying. So
Is
they
it on tap? Like literally poured off a tap?
poured off the tap, so they have, and then they mix it. So what do they have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They've got what?
They've got 8 of their own beers and a seltzer, and then 2 guest taps of beer, 2 ciders,
So
and a root beer.
So they have 14 beers on their list, including theirs and guest. But that seltzer just made it
Oh, God.
200 beers.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're going 3 pumps and you've got about 24 different kinds of syrups.
You could go absolutely buck wild.
Dude, if they had an outdoor patio here,
Yeah.
and I'm coming in, grabbing a beer, and then a couple of, seltzers, and especially if this was walkable,
Oh,
man.
there's that, yeah.
That's the only downside. It's not a walkable place. You're literally off a highway.
You're not walkable from anywhere.
No,
But,
2 road, but
10 years from now, this is walkable from somebody's house after all the development they're going to end up doing.
I'm going to say it's probably only about a $15 Uber ride from somebody's house if they want to come back for the party later.
For those at home who can't see this, it's probably happening.
I
Love
wonder if
it.
there's an option.
Yes.
Obviously, you're not putting Tirani syrups into a beer.
I was thinking
But
about that,
I
though.
wonder if there's a way you could do, hey, this is our base
Okay.
IPA. Can I get you a little flavor bomb?
So, yes.
Could you put a little lemon in my water?
Sig has been doing this, and I
Okay.
don't know how much of it is their beer tenders kind of messing around or doing it,
Yeah.
but they will do blends, and they'll do like you could take your Buckley beer
Well, so
and then do it with a Weizen-biest or with a cider,
who's your
like a Buckley beer and a cider, and do kind of like a blend, or do they're doing blends of stuff.
who is it downtown? Sumner does that as their thing.
Top down.
So they do that as their thing.
Yes.
Like we have our core beers, and then here's
We have
another
6 beers, and here are 6 more that you can make by mixing those.
mix and matching those beers, and those
Yeah.
are awesome.
So they're
It's a genius way to expand
Yeah.
what you have available.
so their black
With doing
IPA.
no extra work.
Their black IPA is blending the stout and an IPA.
Mm-hmm.
They have a snake bite that's an IPA and their cider.
Yeah.
I believe if you mix a stout and a half,
Yes,
the banana half,
banana
you get
half?
the banana bread.
or a chocolate banana or something like that's what they.
But the banana bread mix is my hands down favorite beer out of that.
Yeah. It's a tough thing to do because you're needing to kind of hit that perfect blending. Whereas
Man,
but
look at it! Listen to this deep cut. Take me to church.
So that was the thing I want to do on the back end is talk a little bit more about the space here and what they have. You're looking at probably fitting 50-ish people inside. Did you see a capacity?
Max occupant load is 49.
Okay.
So yeah, you're right on the nose.
Not bad. About a dozen seats at the bar, and then a couple of high tops, and then mostly just scattered 4 tops around.
Mm-hmm.
They got a low, the Pac-Man game, a pinball machine, and golden tea. So a little bit of entertainment. I think they have 2 other things going for them that are key to entertainment if you're going to a space like this.
Sure.
One, multi-shelf game shelf.
Yeah.
That there
absolutely.
is lots of cards and games and things to bring in. Anybody
Set
with
a board
kids,
game. Yeah.
that is clutch, especially when you forget the stuff to distract your kids.
Mm-hmm.
So having that, I forget where I was, and my son was like, we need to go check if they have a game shelf. And I was like, this place does not have a game shelf. He's like, but have you looked? I said, no, but I know this type of place doesn't. Not this place, but where we were. I was like, there's no way. But that's his favorite thing, checking the game shelf. The second thing is, They have, and I think they had it at the old place too, but they have what's called Tap TV. So it is a nonstop trivia that can be accessed at least nationwide. There's times where we've been at a place and you just download the app. You can jump in and do trivia at any time. It's just a random cycle of questions, categories, things like that. You get to see individual winners on the board. You get to see like bars. Like if we were just all doing it and crushing right now at middle of the day, we could boost Lost Woods to the top of the list of. I feel like we went to. We got it one time. Stuck Junction in Sumner got on the board for like the top one time while we were there. So
I think that's the three of you while you were waiting for me.
When they had their bacon Thursdays.
Yes.
Ooh.
So like, I just really enjoy its open air,
and then the entire other half of the building.
Yes.
Is their production facility.
Yeah.
It's right there. Yeah.
But it's open air. It's really tall ceilings. You're seeing all the venting, so you get the industrial standard kind of brewery feel. But on a really cold day outside, it's still cozy and comfy in here and feels nice.
The sun's out.
You're
got
getting
the sun coming.
the ambient sun. It's not direct light coming in, but so if you're ever in the area, I think it's
it's worth a stop for sure.
worth stop. They don't have food here. But they have a lot of places around that are like, they got ordering menus, different things. Apparently you can get a code for a discount at a pizza place.
They'll deliver it here. Like
I think I just went and picked it up. It says free delivery, which I did not know because I think last time I drove.
So you got it up across the street,
Yeah, so it wasn't too far. But, so if you get the chance, I think it's definitely worth it. It's one of those that like, The downside of losing them from Bonnie Lake was it felt slightly more accessible there.
Yeah. Especially when you're working there.
Yeah, and maybe that's a big part of it. You're bringing in a slightly different neighborhood, but kids are allowed here, so take that for what it's worth, whether you enjoy that or not. But to me, this space is more them. That they've really been able to make this their own compared to kind of feeling like you just were making do with what was already there.
Right. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I think that's about what we got, right?
Yeah, I mean, it feels pretty good. I mean, we're going to sit and hang out and drink.
Yeah,
Someone's going to maybe
I'm probably going to have another I'm going to have a seltzer.
Seltzer flavor roulette.
Yeah, and then it is almost 1:30.
Shit. Okay.
Somebody forgot to check in with their.
Yeah, I'm kind of at that point of the day, like time for a nap, and then maybe I come back here for the Halloween party.
I love it.
Let's make some more bad decisions.
If I didn't have anything going and didn't have children, I would be right there with you to support you. So I'm just going to live vicariously through you in this aspect.
So we're going to finish up our glasses.
Yeah, we got.
Yeah, they're not empty yet, but they will be.
Even in this,
they'll be eventually.
To know that we both picked things we enjoyed, they're both over half empty. Like they're
no, all good. We're gonna finish these up, but we need to go full pints this time, which we usually don't do.
Yes, this is true
on the pod. So our glasses will be empty. Chad's is almost empty, and hopefully yours are about in the same spot. And we'll catch you next time. There you go.
Cheers.
If you've enjoyed what you just heard, make sure you subscribe to get new episodes when they drop, and don't forget to leave us a review. If you want to see what we're drinking when we're not on the pod, you can follow us on social media at ABR Review. Feel free to send us any beer suggestions that we can make Chad go buy off his Tavor.